Of the hour, Arash, I'm so happy to welcome you to this webinar.
All right, thanks, Mike. Well, first off, I am super grateful for your time and I promise not to waste it. That's the first thing. Um, you know, our book is being released on Friday, and I thought, why not do a lesson for all of you on transformation and really help you? A lot of people misunderstand what transformation is. The minute you decide is the minute transformation starts getting activated. Most people think that transformation happens once they get a result, and that's not where it happens. Now, I did a video on social media last week, and the reason I wrote this book was because I was so tired for people because I used to be stuck for 3 years. And I was so tired tired for them because they want to change a result, but they don't want to change. And that's the reason I wrote this book. And it's very common. You'll see people that I coach that constantly are letting circumstances control them, so constantly letting excuses and blaming everybody else. In order to change, you have to decide who you're going to be and who you're not going to be. The funny story about this book, many of you have heard this if you've worked with me closely. I wrote the book, it was complete. And I went to record it for Audible, and I was like, I got to rewrite the whole book from the start because I said, this is who I was 2 years ago. So we literally started over. I'm so proud of this book because this isn't just a book, it's a training system, is what it is. See, most people read books and they'll get to the first chapter and then they never go further. I wanted to make this into a training system, and I'm super proud of it because I think it is absolutely the best work I've ever done. And I've lived it, so I can look at it from what you guys are going to get from it when you purchase the book. You're going to see that for yourself. But let me share my slide so you guys are going to get what you came for. And I want you guys to all write your goal first because everything I'm going to be speaking, I want it to be based on your goal. So the first thing I want you to do while I'm sharing my screen is for you to really think about what you want, how you really want to live. All right. So the name of the book is Transform Freedom Demands Personal Transformation. Now, I want you to understand transformation never comes from motivation. It comes from identity installation plus standard reinforcement and daily execution. So I want you to burn that idea in your mind. In the next 60 minutes, I'm going to show you how to transform your life without relying on motivation. Motivation fades. That's why we want to always create from drive. But I want to show you exactly what to do so you don't start over again. Keep starting and stopping, starting and stopping. So you stop negotiating and you really become the version of you that follows through on your word automatically. Not when you feel like it, but every day. The real challenge is, and I'm going to tell you this right now, you do not have a motivation problem. It's always an identity problem if you're not where you want to be. Most people think the problem is discipline. It's not. It's always identity. Most people have never decided they're going to change their life. They say, I've decided I'm going to achieve this goal, but they never follow through with action because you can't build a new life with the same self image that created the old results. And that's what people keep doing over and over again. They get inspired, they go hard, then the old identity pulls them back. And then you know what they say? I burnt out. I burnt out. Today, I want to break that cycle. The most important thing that I want you to get out of it, the three big shifts that I really want you to get out of this today is identity drives behavior. Standard always creates results. Standards are more important than goals because standards are who we are, goals are who we aspire to be, and execution must become a system. I want you to burn those three ideas in your mind. Now, The way we're going to do this is I'm going to teach you exactly what I teach everybody. And if you really get emotionally involved in this and execute it, you're going to change your life. Now, I will tell you this. I didn't write Transform because I wanted to inspire you. I wrote Transform because I wanted to rebuild people. I wanted really to get them to where they want to go. I find it very sad when people are not living the way they want to live because of their income. And I want you to understand this. Mikey said it earlier. I'm not going to be teaching you theory. I'm going to be teaching you what I lived, what I teach my clients every day. I'm going to also tell you how I failed the old way and how I rebuilt myself from the inside out. Because this book is an absolute blueprint. It is an absolute blueprint. And I want you to take it as that. You guys do not need more information, but we want to get you to live the way you want to live. Now, I want you to ask yourself this question. What would change in your life if you finally became the person you knew you were meant to be? I want you to think about that. Look at the goal you wrote down. That's going to demand you to be a different person. Now, I want you to think, if I became powerful, if I really tapped in to the spiritual essence of who I really was, and I really became that person, how would my life change? See, everything is always about how do you really want to live. Most people are not living how they want to live. They're living based on survival. I want you to live based on creation, not survival. Now, if information was enough, your life would already look different. See, it's not about the information, it's about the application. And that's what I want you to understand. When I changed so fast. And for 3 years, I was struggling so much. But when I changed, became the most coachable person I'd ever been in my life. I got really good at studying models and doing exactly what my mentor told me to do. And all my clients who win big, I was just with a lot of them this past week at an event that I did. And the ones that win big do exactly what I tell them. And that's what you've got to decide for your life. You've got to commit to studying every day. You've got to study an hour a day. Without studying, we can't gain new information. Why do people keep gathering information? Because they never step out and act on ideas. Why don't they step out and act? Because they're operating with ignorance. If I keep operating with the same attitudes I've always had, I'm going to keep getting the same. So I want you to understand what got you here is not going to get you there. Now, you don't drift into transformation, you decide into it. I want you to get this. And I want you to decide right now that 2026 is going to be the single best year of my life. Now, I'm sure all of you came into this year thinking it was going to be the best year of your life, yes? And now I want you to look at, have you gone back to the old habits? Have you got back to the old language? And you're going to know that by the type of environment you're putting yourself in, the type of decisions you're making. Is it the same as what you've always done? And I want you just to be honest, because you've got to be brutally honest with yourself, because that is what triggers change. So I want you to ask yourself that question, because if you do, you're going to be like 98% of the people. You're going to keep creating the same year over and over again and call it a life. They literally are living the same year for 50 years. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to decide, because without decision, nothing follows. And I want you to understand that. Today can be the day everything changes in your life. One idea changed my life. There was one moment that it just changed my life when I went all in. And that, I hope, is the moment for you guys. Like, I've already done it, but I want you to do it, because I'm going to tell you, your potential is so great. We were all hardwired to create an extraordinary life. But why are most people struggling? Because they don't understand who they are. They don't understand they're hardwired like that. Every day we're hardwired to do better than the day before. But then why don't most people do it? Because they never let themselves get better. They're constantly making decisions from who they were. Now, it doesn't matter what you've done. The only thing that's going to matter is what you do starting today. But none of this works until you look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm going to change my life. I am really going to change my life. I remember for me, I had this come to Jesus moment, and I'd been working at this for 3 years. I mean, I read over 300 books in that 3 year period, went to everything that I could get my hands on, and I just kept gathering more and more information. Then one day, I remember I was walking in my kitchen, and I was like, you are such a fraud. You are such a fraud. You keep saying you're going to do these things, and you never do them. Then I went in my bathroom, I went in front of the mirror, and I said, your way is not working. And I that day changed my life because I decided that I was going to chase greatness. I decided that I was going to find a mentor. I didn't even know where to find mentors back then because it wasn't as easy as now. And I didn't just find any mentor. I found, in my opinion, the greatest mentor for me in the world, in Bob Proctor. And I did exactly what he told me to do. And I promise you, it was not comfortable. I had a lot of doubt. But what got me to the finish line was my decision, and my desire was so much greater than my doubts. And most people have that reversed. But understand, if I kept focusing on what I had been doing for 3 years and let that drive me, nothing would have changed. So I'm telling you this right now. Like, some of you want the business of your dreams. It's right in front of you. Some of you want to get in the best shape of your life. But some of you keep negotiating with yourself. It's never going to take you to the finish line. You've got to let go of things that do not serve you. That's what I had to do. Now, when you change, you have no idea how many people around you are going to change. They're going to transform by your example. So I want you to put the most important people in your life, in your mind right now. So you're not just changing for you, you're changing for them. And you could literally change your bloodlines, like decades, like generational. Like, I know that's what I did with my family. And I know that's what is going to keep going on because this is how I teach my kids. But I want you guys to have everything. I want you to have everything you want, but it is not more information. It is about really changing at the identity level. Now, this is bigger than you. This is going to be your legacy. So if you keep deciding comfort, you are keep making decisions that are going to really collapse you. You've got to stop doing that. I'm going to tell you that. And you have to start doing that and make real decisions when you're not even ready. I wasn't ready, but I was done. You know, you get to this moment where you're like, God, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Is anybody there? Is anybody sick and tired of being sick and tired? Be honest with yourself. That is a really great moment. That was the moment that changed everything for me. Now, everybody wants freedom. Everyone I've ever met, they've wanted one thing. They don't want the money. They want the freedom. Money is always the tool. Freedom is always the goal. And I'm talking about mentors I've worked with. I'm talking about clients I've coached, people I admire. They all want the same thing. Now, let's talk about why you're here. You're not wasting your time being with me. You know there's something dying inside of you to get out, and you're trying to find the combination. And that's what I want to give you. I want to give you the combination. But you didn't land here by accident. Something in you know there's more. I want you to listen to that voice. There is more for you. Remember how I said our job is to get better every day. That's not, you don't force yourself to get better. That's an identity. Because we can get better every single day. Every single day. And that's what I want you to understand. Now, if I can show you how to make real decisions, I'm talking about an irrevocable, unshakable decision. That's when decision is death of everything else. That is the first step. And then you're going to naturally allow yourself, listen to my words, you allow yourself to step into a new identity. And then you're going to naturally start really being obsessed with upgrading your standard. And that's what's going to create transformation. That's what's going to create transformation. Now, I want you to take a look at your results right now. Look at your current results. They're telling you what you're most committed to. They're telling you exactly your dominant idea in your subconscious mind. So I want you to come from that state, and that's our opportunity. That's our opportunity to go from there to where you want to go, and that's where the transformation happens. Now, and I'm not talking in 1 year. I'm not talking in 6 months. You could wake yourself up today on this call. You could literally wake yourself up today on this call. But in order to wake yourself up, you have to have courage to be honest with yourself. You have to have courage to say, this is not working for me anymore. That's where the courage is. And if you have that courage, that's when you're going to be ready to receive bigger ideas that you're going to step into. Now, for the next 60 to 90 minutes, I don't know how long, I'm not scripted, so I don't know how long I'm going to take, but I will tell you, I'm asking you to fully be open. Most people don't even allow themselves to go bigger because they're closed-minded. It has to be on their rules. So you got to get rid of these spiritual contracts you have of yourself. You say, I want more, but you have them in these little boxes of boundaries you've set that are outdated. I want you to be present, remove distractions, take notes, and really start identifying where your opportunities are. But transformation requires participation. If you're in, be all in. And like my attitude is like, if you're not doing what you're passionate about, like stop doing it. But there's only one mode. It's always all in because you're spending the time anyway. I want you to spend it creating an amazing life, create an extraordinary life for yourself. Every time you're not, you're just deciding that you're going to negotiate with yourself, and all you're doing is killing your potential. Now, it always starts for me, what do you really want? We have to know this question because we can't create a better life and we can't build a bigger image if we don't know what we really want. And I'm telling you, most people, they never change the image, they never build the idea, and they want different results. So they're operating with their old image trying to get better results. It's impossible. So I'm asking you right now, like, I want you to ask yourself, what do you really want? What do you really want? How do you really want to live? Now, for me, I was telling the group I was working with this past week, I said, every goal we go after, we trade our life for. But I don't want to trade my life for a house. I don't want to trade my life for a car. I don't think you do either. There's something deeper that is going to create consistency. And that's why you've got to decide, what do I really want? And then you've got to decide, who am I going to be and who am I not going to be anymore? Like, until you decide this, I promise you, if you've ever started and stopped, I used to be a master at it because I know why I did now, but it's because you never build the image and you never decide, this is who I'm going to be. And you have to decide that. Now, who do you really want to become? Like, your goal is going to demand you to become a different person. Your goals demand you that 2025 version of you has no vote in 2026. But if you keep repeating 2025 thoughts, you're going to keep getting the same results. If you keep repeating 2025 environment, same results. 2025 actions, same results. That's why people don't change. So I don't want that to be you. And then what version of you can no longer come with you? Like, if you want abundance, you're going to have to let go of excuses. If you want abundance, you're going to have to build better habits. If you want abundance, you're going to have to stop gathering information and get into execution mode. And if you're going to want abundance, you're going to have to rewrite your story. Your old story cannot come to you in the future if you want different results. So the question isn't, can I do it? You all have the capability. It's, am I going to give myself the idea that is going to be an obsession that's going to drive me to do it? That's what you have to do. I say this in every event I do, and people have a hard time understanding this. You have to disconnect from the money. A lot of people want to do certain things, but they don't allow themselves to do it. See, if you don't have the money, you make a decision and your mind flips on a different frequency and you find the money. But if you keep making decisions from your bank account and you're not finding the way, you don't want it bad enough. But that's why transformation happens the moment you decide. And decide who you're going to be and no longer decide comfort. Comfort is never going to get you to where you want to go. Now, everything you want begins with a decision. So what I encourage you right now is I want you to make a decision with me that you are going to transform yourself. You are going to chase your greatness. And you're going to stop avoiding. I have clients who come with me. They start creating great results, then they go back to their old identity. Some of them are on this call right now, and you know who you are. I want you to stop that behavior. I want you to stop it because you have to do it every day. Every day we have to build our want into a desire. We have to do that every day. I have to do it every day. We have to study every day. We have to study ourselves. But the reward is so much greater than the comfort. So every transformation is going to start with one place and one place only, and it's a decision. It's not coming from ego. You'll know if it's an authentic decision because you follow through after follow through after follow through. If it's ego, you're doing it when you feel good that day. But without every day being day one, it's not a decision, it's a wish or a hope. Now, your life doesn't change when circumstances change. It changes when you decide. And you're going to be so much bigger than the circumstances. Now, most people think they're undecided because they need more clarity. The truth is, clarity always follows decision. So I'm going to go back and ask you, what do you really want? Then I want you to say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed am I to this? I just want you to be honest with yourself. How committed am I to this? And then let's say you say, you know, Arash, I'm really committed. Then I'm going to say, I want you to look at yesterday. What evidence do you have from yesterday that shows you were committed? I'm always looking at evidence. See, that way I don't lie to myself. And that way I'm auditing myself so it steps into my awareness. So yesterday I wasn't committed. So I'm going to show myself tomorrow I am. And the more committed I can get you, the better I can get you to be. Now, indecision is always going to keep you negotiating with yourself. Indecision is always going to get you lying to yourself. Indecision is always going to get you to avoid, but it's going to keep you in the exact same results that you've always had. Now, every breakthrough you admire in someone else's life, I promise you started with a decision they made before they felt ready. I always tell people earning $1 million is not hard. But there's certain habits that you have to do. Number one, you have to sell yourself on going all in. Number two, you have to behave before you're ready. And number three, you have to do it now. Those are the 3 identity-based behaviors to go from 100,000 to $1 million a year. Now, you know, my story, my transformation didn't start when I was ready. It started when I decided. And that's why I wrote Transform, because I wanted to give you a blueprint that you could follow and study this for a year. Don't just study it and go through it. You want to devour it. You want to study this inside and out. I lived the same cycle a lot of people lived it. I would get motivated. I'd get inspired. I'd get fired up. I'd make promises for a little while. Then I'd tap out. Pressure would hit. My results weren't there. And I was letting my emotions drive my standards instead of my standards driving my emotions. So I just kept negotiating with myself. I would be rationalizing. I'm telling you, everything that you may be in, I did. And that's why I was losing. And then I'd say, I'll do it again tomorrow. But what I realized is the problem wasn't that I didn't want it bad enough, because I really did. The problem was that I didn't have the identity that made execution automatic. So I had to build that identity. So I had to build a completely different version of me. But here's the truth. When our identity isn't aligned, you can't have success. You can't touch it. You can't taste it, and you can't hold it. And I remember I told myself this. I said, if you're not willing to get uncomfortable every day, you don't deserve to win. And so I kept failing over and over again. Well, I tried the information. I tried the willpower. I tried forcing discipline. It didn't work. And I'm telling you, once I made a decision, instead of saying I'm going to fix my life, I'm going to change my life. And now every goal I ever set, I said, I am connecting it to changing my life. So it changed everything in a moment. Transformation happens the minute you decide something bigger than you. So I want you to connect your goals and your transformation to changing your life. That's what transform is. It's the framework that rebuilt me. It's the standards that changed my life. It's the identity shift that makes success automatic. And I'm telling you right now, you're going to have the exact process to become the version of you that stopped breaking promises to yourself. The one that executes. There's no more, oh, I'm going to do it and not do it. See, I want you to understand you're already worthy. You haven't accepted your worthiness. And you're not going to achieve a goal unless you're worthy of the goal. So you have to believe you deserve it. And your actions will tell you how much you really respect yourself. Now, I made a decision before I had the confidence and definitely before I had the money. I didn't have any money. I was in a ton of debt. But then I flipped my mind and only on how I could do it. That's what you have to do. See, if you already had the confidence right now, you'd already achieve what you want. Every goal tells us we don't have the confidence yet. It doesn't mean we're not going to build the confidence, but if we already had the confidence, we'd already be doing it. Now, the moment I decided to become someone new, my life began to transform. And for the last 18 plus years, every year, my results have been a lot better than the year before. Not just a little bit better. Go watch me from 6 months ago. You're going to see it with your own eyes because I do this every day. And that's what you can do. We get to get better. We have all the potential in the world. You have genius inside of you. But if you're creating the same results year after year, you got to take a good look at what you're doing. You've got to take a good look because you're wasting your potential away. Now, if you decide that the old version of you is no longer an option, they do not get a vote. Transformation won't take years. It's going to begin by the end of this call. I promise you this. Now, identity transformation becomes permanent. That's when you've changed an identity. A lot of people will start getting results, then they don't feel worthy of it because they never change the identity. They use willpower and they go back. And understand this, your old self-image is going to fight you like hell. It's going to try to distract you. It's going to try to get you to rationalize because its job is to keep you safe. And I'm going to tell you this right now. You've got to be very careful the environment you're in because whatever environment you're in, whatever they're thinking is going to go right inside of you. So you want to constantly be in bigger and bigger environments. But here's the great thing. Find people that are great and surround yourself with them. Surround yourself with greatness. That's how you become great. Be very careful. You're going to know when your identity has shifted because your environment's going to shift. You're going to know the type of actions you've taken have shifted. You're going to know your decisions have changed. That's how you know you've made an identity shift. Now, identity is who you believe you are when no one is watching. It is the most honest picture you have of yourself. So if you keep knowing this, but you keep putting yourself in negative environments, your identity hasn't shifted. And that becomes a choice. At first, it's just a mistake, then it becomes a choice. So we want to really understand your identity is going to, how far you take your identity is how far your results go. So what you have to eliminate is any victimhood. That's why it's the easiest time in the world to win because the world is filled with so many victims. And I want you to really get that. I want you to really, truly understand that. Now, most people try to change their life without changing the person living in it. Right now, if you have a money problem, you have a personal problem. If you have relationship problems, you have a personal problem. If you have confidence problems, you have a personal problem. You take care of the person, everything changes. Wealth always comes from within. It's not the currency. Your spiritual DNA is perfect. You are a spiritual being living in a physical body. People go, I know that, Arash. Then why are you making decisions from your bank account? Why aren't you making decisions from what you want? Why are you coming from the state of survival instead of creation? Interesting. I want you to think about that for a second. Why would we do that? It's very simple. You work in harmony with the laws, then you're going to win. If you work against the laws, you're going to lose. And if you're losing right now, you're working against the law. That's what's happening. See, when I went back into what I said earlier about what do you really want, that's the most important thing. So I want you, I want you to see this with me for a second. I want you to lock in with me so you understand this. Everything starts in spirit. Where do our thoughts come from? They start in spirit. And then we get to accept what we want or what we don't want. Now, the thoughts come, our job is to build the image. Well, how do you build the image? You write out exactly what you want every day. You get in front of a mirror and you're repeating your goal every day. You visualize every day, and that's how you build the image. And the repetition of building the image, now it starts in spirit, we build the idea, and then we give it back to the power. The power, we're giving it back to God. And then God gives it back in terms of our physical life, our physical reality. But that's what most people are not doing. Just look at today. Did you build the idea? How much time in your morning did you focus on building it, or did you wake up and just start going to work? Well, if you did, I promise you, you're letting the world build your idea for you. And I want you to get this. I want you to understand this. My first hour of my day is just building ideas. It's building my new idea on a subconscious level. So I want you to understand this is what 98% of the people are doing, and that's why they're struggling. And I can tell you right now, you're not a victim to circumstances, you're creating it. And one of the main culprits is people are dwelling on what they don't want, and they're dumping it into that power, and the power is giving it right back to them. I want you to make a decision today that you're going to spend every day, that first hour, building your want into a desire. And if you do that, you're going to start getting new ideas, because then what happens? Then our intuition activates because our idea is on a frequency, and we start getting ideas from everywhere. It's coming from everywhere, and that's how you change your life. All right, let me share my screen again. We'll get back to this. I want you to get that because this is so important you understand so you don't keep repeating it. Now, you have to be a different person. Like, I can look at all of you. I already know you guys are going to win. Like, I know. Now, whether you guys win or not, that's going to be dependent on what you do. That's going to be dependent on who you decide to be. Because I know where I was, and I was losing in the worst way. And if I can do it, you can do it. I already know that. I already know you could win. Like, if you devour this and really do what I'm telling you and turn it from a book to a training system where you spend the next 12 months in this, your life is going to change. Now, if I don't change who I was to who I want to be, it's never going to happen. That's delusion. That's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thoughts, having the same feelings, taking the same actions, expecting a different result. It's never going to happen. Now, there's always a gap, and the gap is our greatest opportunity. Don't look at the gap as a negative. There's always a gap between who you are and who you desire to be. That gap is the problem we have to solve. That is where it is. Remember, all money is a reflection of the problems we solve. So I want you to look at your gap, and that is the biggest opportunity of our life. You solve that problem, you're going to create a new result. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. You have to kill off your old self a lot. Like, I want you guys to kill off your old self thousands of times. Until you kill off your old self, you're not going to be able to create something new. And I talked already a lot about decision because most people never decide to kill off their old self. They keep making the same decisions. They make it out of comfort. Why do we make decisions out of comfort? Fear. What is fear? Ignorance, not knowing. Okay, that's why people are not stepping up and stepping out. But that's what you're going to have to train yourself to do. Now, the old self dies when new habits are born. So think, just for the next 90 days, what one habit, I call it the pinnacle habit, that will bring all your habits up. That's the only habit I want you to work on. The one habit that when I changed my life in the first year, in the first 3 months, was doing it now and behaving before I was ready. Like I did both of them together. But you're going to have to let 80% of your life go to make room for unstoppable growth. Like you deserve to be in the best shape of your life. You deserve to have more money than you ever need to know what to do with it. And your kids and your family are counting on you. So when you negotiate with you, you're not just negotiating with you, you're negotiating with them. And I want to put that in your face because you have to have enough reason to do the things. If I don't have enough reasons to do it, the first sign of adversity, I'm going to go backwards. Now, you've got to ask this question. Are you ready to kill off your old self? I want to kill off my old self every day because I know my soul is for perpetual increase and growth. It is to constantly get better. Once I hit one goal, I want to set another goal right away. But are you ready to let go of your old identity? That's a decision. That is a decision. Now, transformation happens when you stop asking what I should do and start asking who I must become. See, we've got to change our perception. Our perception is how we see the world. It's our point of view. Like, I want you to look at your goal that we wrote in the very beginning. And your perception must be only, I know this is what I'm going to do, and I'm only focusing on how am I going to do it. I'm only thinking about how I'm going to do it. That's all I'm doing. I remember years ago, I learned a lesson from Earl Nightingale. He said, for an hour, write out on the top of the paper your goal and write 20 ideas on how you're going to achieve it. And I had just lost my job. I went to Starbucks every day and I was doing this exercise. See, most people are not thinking. They'd rather die than think. And I'm telling you, ask this question. Why are you so obsessed with your results? Why are you so obsessed with them? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Why is it so easy for you to go into lack and limitation, to speak about problems? There's only one reason. It's because you're not thinking. That's the only reason. Like, why are you not willing to do whatever it takes? Why are you not willing to go all in? I want you to be honest with yourself. There's only one reason. It's because you've never made a decision, a true decision, not a wish or a hope, a true, non-negotiable, this is what I'm doing, I'm not going back. That's the only reason. And you know what I'm telling you is true because I know it because I did it. But I know it because the clients I work with, they change because they make that decision. And that's the decision you have to make. But the version of you that created your current life cannot create your next one. So then we have to say, what do I really want? And I've got to start building the image in my imagination of already being in possession of what I want. So you got to train your emotional state to already feel the emotions you're feeling. You got to feel that pride. You got to feel that peace of mind. You've got to feel that gratitude. That's what you want to feel. Now, I had to let go of who I was to achieve the new results. I mean, I always tell people, if you knew me when I was in high school, the last thing I'd ever be doing would be presenting in front of a group. The last thing I'd be doing. And that's what I'm the most passionate about. That's what my genius is. But when I let go of the old me, all of a sudden this different version of me got activated. Like something changed in me like nothing before. Like, Garrett, I look at you, because you're on my screen right now. Like, over a year ago, you said, Arash, I'm a mess. Now you're living your best life. That same thing that got activated in me got activated in you. That same exact thing. The beautiful part of it, I'm going to tell you this. Once it's activated, you're never going to lose it. Like, I'm more hungry, and I know you're more hungry than you've ever been. But it's because we decided who we were going to be. Both of us decided who we were going to be. We didn't have room for negotiation. We had no room for excuses. But then you create the most amazing experiences. You create the most amazing leadership. because life is about leadership. If you want wealth, you've got to be a great leader. But you can't lead anyone until you lead self. I don't care if you're not leading anybody else. You're leading yourself every day. So we've got to be a great leader of self. And we've got to do things with speed. Money follows speed. Now, I'm going to tell you this. It's going to be uncomfortable. But I want you to put this definition in your mind. Every time you have a resistance, the reason you resist it and are uncomfortable because it's not part of your current programming. That means you have to do it. So anytime I get a resistance, I have to do it. I have to do it. That will change the game. Transformation is never going to happen in comfort. It's never going to happen in comfort. And I want you to burn that idea in your mind. Now, you don't lose your old self by accident. You release it by choice. And that's why every day is day one. Every day, I have an alarm on my phone that says make every decision from your future today. And I've had it for a number of years. Why do I still have that alarm on my phone? Because I know there's so many distractions out there. I know that. But if I could just get you to do that, you're going to start living differently. Now, standards, this is where transformation stops being optional. Standards are who you are. I'm going to tell you that right now. Our standards create our story. Our story creates our identity, and our identity creates our results. But you can't create a new story with the same old standards. But everybody thinks they have standards, but you don't have standards unless you reinforce them every day. That's why look for the evidence that I'm living my standard. And when you do that, everything changes. Now, every breakthrough starts by raising the bar. So we decide this is my standard. I'm never going under this. I'm no longer tolerating mediocrity. I always tell people, like, people are settling for average. Average sucks. You guys do not settle for average. You guys are extraordinary. You have extraordinary power. But I don't want you to tolerate it from yourself, from others, and I definitely don't want to tolerate it from your circumstances. Like, if you don't like your circumstances, don't tolerate them anymore. Decide, I'm going to change them. And you've got a mind that you can build any image through repetition. Doesn't matter how long it takes, because you're going to spend the time anyway. Now, you don't want to live the life you want. I want you to live an extraordinary life. I want to turn it into knowingness. I want it to be like, this is what I'm deciding for myself. But nobody lives the life they want. They live what they tolerate. So if you look at your results, they're telling you what you've tolerated up to this point. But guess what? We can make a new decision. We don't have to tolerate it any longer. Eleanor, if I was talking to you right now, you know how much I love you. And if I was talking to you right now, I'd be like, Eleanor, if I could get you to shift one thing, let's just put a standard to what you're not going to tolerate anymore. You're going to change so quickly, so quickly. And that's what I want all of you to do. See, your standards always reveal your true commitment. That's what they reveal. So one standard a month will change your life. And some of you may have to reinforce it for 2 months. But when it's a part of you, it never leaves. It never leaves. Now, your standards are determining how you're showing up. So your standard right now may be a standard of closed-mindedness. Well, closed-mindedness is never going to achieve a better life. You have to be open-minded. You're going to have to be open-minded. So that's all a standard. Transformation collapses the moment you allow old behaviors to negotiate their way back in. Every time you're like, I'm doing so good, and I'm not going to do it. I'll give you an example. I have a client of mine. He was texting me every day that he was doing his morning routine. He needed accountability. He was doing it for 40 some days. He missed one day. I didn't hear from him for 3 weeks. That one day turned into 3 weeks. So I called him. I said, what happened? And he said, oh, I just figured I missed one day. I said, but now it's been 3 weeks. He said, I know. I know. You guys, you're not robots. Transformation doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be consistent. The man or woman that's most consistent always wins. Remember that. Now, transformation is about imagination. Most people are consciously using their imagination against themselves. I want you to consciously use your imagination for you. See, we got to understand our programming. 95% of our day is already done. So our 5% better be freaking good. They better be freaking good. I'm telling you right now, or else you're going to default to your old self. That's why, if you've ever started and stopped, that's why. Your 5% has to be driven by processes. It has to be intentional. But it's always sustained by standards. Always sustained by standards. Now, the higher your standards become, the more you're going to become aware of the right strategies. Ooh, what does that mean? Is it possible my standards are my problem, not my strategies? Because guess what? When my standards become higher, I start, with my intuition, start getting better and better strategies. So these are the things we want to understand that's going to allow you to get to where you want to go. That's what it's going to do. Standards form the invisible boundaries in our life. Like expectation is a standard. Expectation is invisible, but it is so powerful because we don't get what we want. We get what we expect because our expectation controls our behavior. You know what else expectation controls? Our courage. Expectation controls our confidence. So when you make expectation a standard, now you're coming from creation, not survival. That's exactly what you're doing. Now, most people never rise to their dreams. They always fall to their standards. What do you really want? I want you to live exactly how you want to live. Stop letting your past control you. Stop letting your bank account tell you who you are. Your bank account is telling you what your behaviors have been. That's not who you are. So when you understand that, everything is going to start working in your favor. But what are your standards right now telling you about your current identity? They're telling you a story. So what standards would upgrade your identity today? Like you can make a decision today that will upgrade your identity. Everything I do today is either upgrading my identity or it's taking me into the past. Same thing for you. We create our future in this present moment. Right now has nothing to do with your future. It had to do with your past. That's why I always tell clients, like results, what are results? They're a manifestation of our belief system. Upgrade the belief system, you're going to upgrade the result, right? So then you look, my results are based on who I was, not based on where I'm going. So I want you to really understand that. So your standards are your truest commitment. They're your truest commitment. That's why I want you to get emotionally involved in what one standard today, if I started feeding it, would change my life. What one standard today? Now, success follows rules. Like, I want you to look at your results again. You know what our results tell us? That's exactly how I prepared myself in 2025. That's exactly how I prepared myself. So success as rule is whatever I prepare myself for when no one is watching behind closed doors, what I'm going to receive in terms of results. So success is for the people who demand more for themselves than the average person is willing to do. And what's such a shame about this, everyone has the same potential. Like I have no less potential than you. You know, if I can do this, you can do this. But let's recap this. Decision, identity, and standards. That's what it's about. Until we decide who we're going to be, until we decide we're going to change our life, nothing's going to happen. When we decide it, that's when transformation begins. Then identity is who you are. It's how the most honest picture of how you see yourself. And standards are more important than goals. Standards are what gets you to achieve your goals. So that exact process is what I put in detail in Transform. I put it in so much detail in this book. I mean, I put it in so much detail, you know, and you've got to pick a want that is soul stirring. Like it just constantly like, oh, this is, I mean, if I lived this way, how would it feel? How would it feel? See, Oscar, I can tell you right now, I can tell you your results in the future by this one question. Do you honestly, like you can answer this, you don't need to tell me. Have you honestly seen yourself and made every decision that you're already in possession of the good you desire? If the answer is yes, you're going to create an awesome future. If the answer not yet, that's what we got to work on. That would be the gap. Okay. Now, so the real question is going to become, do you want to understand transformation or do you want to live it? I want you to live it. I want you to have the identity every 90 days I create quantum leaps. That's what I want for you. So everything I've shared today follows a process. Our results are just a reflection of the processes we're practicing every day. And I promise you this, every one of you are practicing processes every day. They may be unconscious, but when the game changes is when we make them conscious. Now, and I wanted to make that process available to anyone who's ready to change. So it's not whether you're capable of doing it. Take that question out. Everyone's capable. It's, are you willing to take yourself on? Are you willing to get better every day? That's what transformation demands. And that's what freedom demands. Freedom isn't free. You've got to pay the price in full. And that price is always transformation. Now, I hope you guys get this book, but don't just get it and put it on a shelf. I hope you get it. You study it like you've never studied anything before. And you put yourself in 2026 and really spend 1 month on each chapter. 1 month on each chapter before you go to the next chapter. That's the best way to study it. Now, Transform is going to walk you through how to make irrevocable decisions from your soul, not from ego. How to step into a new identity and how to live from a higher standard without guessing what to do next. That's what it's going to do. Now, every chapter is designed to do one trigger action and accelerate change. Every single chapter. Every single chapter is. Most books give you ideas, they give you hope, but there's not an executable plan. This has an executable plan. That's why I call it a blueprint. But Transform is going to be the exact blueprint that I use. I use it every year. Same blueprint, just different person. Now, most people read books and feel inspired, then nothing changes. This book was written so something has to change. I want you to teach it to your dogs. I want you to teach it to someone in your family. Because when you teach it, it becomes a part of you. Now, if you have a team, you got to get this for everyone on your team. I'm telling you this. You want to all be going in the same direction. But it helped me become the person who follows through instead of starting over. Like, that's what it did for me. Now, if that's what it did for you, would it be worth it? Would it be worth it? See, I don't want you to keep creating the same results every year, a couple percent better, a couple percent worse. I want you to create explosive growth, exponential growth. Now, if this book just did one thing, helped you stop negotiating with your future, would that be worth it to you? Would that be worth it? Would that be worth it? Now, if it helped you raise your standards once and never lower them again, would that be worth it to you? That's what I want you to ask yourself. For the people who are serious, I don't want to just give you the book. I am giving you a training system, not just with the book, but I created an online training system that goes along with the book. I want to set you up with my proven system. So here's what you receive when you order Transform during this training. I'm going to give it to you. First, you're going to have a live replay of my Transform event that I did in November. This is 2 full days. You're going to get it forever. That's what you're going to get. And that's valued at $5,000. Some of you were in that room. Matt, I'm looking at you. Like, if you had that over and over, like, how much would it be worth to you, right? So I'm going to give that with you with the book. So what you're going to get when you invest in the book today, you're going to get Transform Replay. That was 2 days of being in the room with me. And then you're going to get, this is what I'm most excited to give you. I'm going to give you my exact 90-day Transform reinvention system that I made along with the book. So this is how you install it, and your life is never going to be the same. And this is valued at $5,000. So the book is not going to, I'm not charging you $10,000. I want to give you the training system. I don't want this book to go on your shelf. I want you to create a massive training system for you. And then you're going to get my Legacy Builders. My Legacy Builders is where you're going to have 2 calls for 1 month with me. in my high level coaching environment. Because reading a blueprint is powerful, but installing it with structure, support, and accountability is when it becomes permanent. So you're not just getting transform, is what I'm trying to give you guys. You're getting the exact blueprint. Now, so now the value is up to 15,000, but I want to keep giving you more. I'm going to give you, when you get in the identity chapter in my book, I don't want you studying this yet. Once you get in the identity chapter for 30 days, you're going to watch my Ignite Your Identity program with the chapter on identity. See, I want to show you how to really get this so deep, and you're going to do it every day. That's going to set you up. So now you've got up to 20,000 in value. But also, I'm going to make sure you learn how to study a book. I remember my mentor said to me, he said, why are you reading the book? And I thought he was trying to trick me. He wasn't. I said, well, every time I read, it gives me hope, and hope gives me options. And he said, that's not a bad answer. He said, but the whole purpose of reading a book is teaching it to somebody. But why I want to give you a free coaching session is I want somebody to be helping you understand the action steps and holding you accountable. So now we're up to 22,500. But then I want to give you my Wealth Accelerator. I do a seminar that I did in December called Wealth Accelerator. And I created the most complete workbook that you can ever see. The most complete workbook. But it's designed to help you create your best year ever. It's going to help you map out what you're creating financially and hold you accountable. This workbook is going to get you to stop drifting and start building. So now we're at 23,500. But then I'm going to give you access to our private community. We're creating a transformed community that you guys are going to be sharing ideas back and forth. You guys are going to have accountability built in with each other. Now we're at 26,000. But let me be clear. You're not paying 26,000. You're investing in a book and receiving the transformation system behind it. Now, what I'm going to do is if you buy 10 transformed copies, it's $1,000 value for $300. You're going to get everything I just said, included. Everything I just said. So it's $300, but you're going to get 10 copies of the book where you can give them out, where you're leaving other people better off. You're going to get Transform Live. You're going to get my 90-day Transform Reinvention System. You're going to get 30 days of Legacy Builder. You're going to get Ignite Your Identity. You're going to have a private call with a certified coach of mine. You're going to have the Wealth Accelerator workbook, and you're going to get the access to private community. Now, this offer ends at the conclusion of the webinar. So would that be valuable for you to have a full training system for $300? I want you not to just get more information. And I'm going to show you, and the coach is going to work with you on exactly how to study it. Okay? Now, when the training ends, I promise you the opportunity disappears. That's it. Because what do you have to do? You have to make decisions. And if you haven't made a decision by now, then all you're going to do is keep doing the same thing you've always done. But transformation rewards speed. Money, there's some rules about money. Money responds to 5 things the most. It responds to speed, number 1, decision, number 2, standards, number 3, leadership, number 4, and identity, number 5. That's what it responds to. Now, if you're ready to stop negotiating and start transforming, now is the moment to act. Now is your time. Now, here's what to do right now. Click the link in the chat and order Transform Now. And then you're going to get all the training right away. You're going to start getting it right away. But I'm telling you, I don't want you touching the Ignite Your Identity portion of this training until you get in that chapter. You're going to thank me for what I'm telling you, okay? Now we're going to leave this up for 15 minutes for you to place your order. Once the timer's out, the bonuses are gone. That's it. But I want to be clear. I hope for you that you step into this opportunity for yourself. This isn't pressure. This is where standards are created. So if you want transformation, you move. If you want results, you decide. So you have 15 minutes, and I want you to grab the book, lock in the bonuses, and get yourself inside the system. You watch whoever you give this book to, they're going to thank you. When I tell you there's a reason I wrote it, then I scrapped it and rewrote it again. I'm so proud of this book. And I think you guys are going to love it. But when the timer hits 0, the bonuses are gone. Not because I'm trying to be dramatic. It's because this is the real offer with real delivery. And I want you to start showing yourself that you can actually move instead of overthinking. Now, I want you to have your best year ever, your very best year ever. And I want you to own this for yourself. Okay. I look at Victor, all I see is full potential. I look at Patty, Patty, you can do anything you want. Now, you may not believe that. You may believe it. I don't know. But I'm telling you, the only limit we have is a limit in our awareness. But make it so simple for yourself. Make yourself accountable to you. You know what? I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do one more thing for you that nobody even knows on my team. I'm looking at you guys right now, and I remember me. And people are missing direction. That's the only thing they're missing. That is the only thing people are missing. That was the only thing I was missing. And this is what I'm going to do. If you purchase 100 books, I'm going to give you a live 1-hour coaching session with me that's going to be recorded. If you're in Arizona, come in. We could do a live in person. We could do a live in person. But that's what I'm going to do. But I'm only doing it for 5 people because I don't have the time. I'm going to give it for 5 people. For 5 people, I don't know what it comes out to for 100 books. Just email my team if you're one of the 5. Once it's 5, I'm not doing it anymore. Okay? Email at hello@vosscoachingco.com. That's what I'm going to do for you guys. If anyone wants a one-on-one. Okay? Now, I want to thank you. And I want you to understand why that idea came in for the 100. Because this is going to change your team. This is going to change your life. This is going to change your family if you don't have a team. And I want you to reward that because, I have a client, some of you know, because you guys were probably on my shadow coaching. We spent a day together. And in one day, in a 5-minute part of this day, we found 150 million in new revenue for him with 3 simple steps. And I want to give it to you. Okay. So go place your order. Decide though, at the end of the day, I want you to live your best life. I want you to live what you really want because I want you to understand transformation rewards decision and speed. That's why the universe responds to commitment, not wishing or hoping. Think of a time you really committed. You really committed to go all in with yourself. What followed there? Okay. I hope you guys love the book. I hope you decide to do it the right way and study it for a year, not just go through it. Okay. And I want you, the first thing I want you to do is go through the transformation system. I want you to start the transformation system right away. Anyway, I'm going to turn this over to Mikey. I want to thank you guys for all your time. I hope you got some ideas that you can implement right away. And I want to be the first person to congratulate you on achieving 2026 as the single best year of your life. All right, Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Arash. This was incredible. And I hope some of you, 5 of you, take Arash up on his offer. So it's first 5, get the offer. Arash only has 5 spots for this available. His assistant already just messaged me and was like, what? So only 5 spots available. You need to message books to hello@vosscoachingco.com. We'll help you get that process, and it's first 5 will get it. If you are receiving an error, and I see that some of you are, then go ahead and email hello@vosscoachingco.com and we will help you process your order. For the 100 books, it is $2,500. It's $300 for the 10 books and all the bonuses that Arash just mentioned. All right, for the next 15 minutes, we're going to play a quick video for you. We will be here in the chat, so if you have any questions, just let us know. And Elizabeth, if you'll play that video.
So I wanted to see, because I have a few minutes, I just changed and I was like, oh, does anybody have any questions that I can answer regarding how I can help them? So I have a few minutes right now if anyone has any questions.
Okay, perfect. All right, if you have questions for Arash, go ahead and put them in the chat right now. I'm also going to post the new link one more time because there's been so many messages after I posted that link. So if you had any trouble, the new link is posted right now. And if you have any questions for Arash, let us know. He's here for a minute. Arash, maybe you could also tell a story of the Transform book and why it took so long for this book to come out. Because I know some people started seeing this book on Amazon even, I mean, almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah, what happened for me, like I'm obsessed with standards. Like standards changed my life so much. And I remember I went in to record it in studio for the Audible version. And I'm recording it, I'm like super dissatisfied. I'm like, this is who I was 2 years ago. Anyway, I called Mikey and I'm like, yeah, we got to restart the book. And she goes, are you being dramatic? I'm like, no, I'm not being dramatic. I have better inside of me. So then we went to the publisher, and everyone's kind of like, is he being dramatic, trying to talk me out? There was no talking me out, you know? And so we literally did it from scratch. It was the best decision I ever made. That's why I'm always saying um, standards can be inconvenient, but they change your life. They completely change your life. And like, think about like if you started doing that, how much you're going to be drawing to you. Like I've done it for a long time, so it wasn't that big of a deal for me. Um, when everything you do is holding up to that standard, you watch how life rearranges everything back to you.
You know, Arash, I'll tell you because I've read the book a couple of times now, and it feels like you're literally sitting in the room with you when you're reading the book. It feels like you're actually talking to me. Like your voice was captured so perfectly. Feels like you're in a one-on-one coaching call with Arash the entire time you're reading the book. It is so good. I was actually wondering, can you share your screen again and pull up those bonuses one more time so that everybody can remember what they're getting when they order the 10 book bundle? And
Sure.
if there's any that you want to talk about,
Well,
for sure, just go ahead.
let me find it. Um, yeah, the reason we created this, um, a lot of people get books, right? But when I started reading, I turned books into trainings for myself. And then I said, well, why don't I just do what I do for me and give it to you guys? And so I turned it, not just the book, into a training system. Some of you are busy. Like I understand I'm busy, right? So you may be reading the book and then you're like, oh, I'm driving and I want you to do either the Transform Live session or I want you to do the 90-day Transform Reinvention System. I'm going to tell you this. This is what I found as a complete fact. If you can create in 90 days one quantum leap, just one, you'll never go back. It's getting the people to that first one. Okay. It was like for me, it was that first one because it creates this whole different level of belief. And that's why when I created the 90-day transform system, it's going to be your partner with it. I'm serious about giving these books away though. You don't know how much good is going to be drawn to you. Like if you want money, you have to give. You may not have the money to give, but you could give away compliments. You can give away clothes. You can give, but when you give a book away and put a note in this book, you're gonna change that person's life. They may not be thinking like you're thinking, and that's what I would do. Like Jethro, for you, because we know each other. I'd give it to everyone in your company because you may have this attitude. Well, what if they don't like it? What if they? I promise you, everybody wants more. Everybody wants more because that's how our soul is wired. See, we've got to understand that, and if we understand, like just like what you guys want, somebody else wants the same thing. So you're gonna see what I mean when you start getting this and start going through it. So, Mike, are you still there?
A rush. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just want to say what you're not saying, I want to say, which is we have never given this many bonuses for this little cost. So the 10 books is incredible, and you'll get the 10 books, and you're gonna be able to give them away. The book is gold. And somebody asked, could you study this like you study Think and Grow Rich? Yes, this is Arash's complete transformation system. But the bonuses alone, like you would be absolutely crazy not to do this for what bonuses you're getting. So if you even just want to go through some of the high points of these bonuses, Arash, I think that would be super valuable.
Well, first of all, like I agree, I don't like talking about myself like that, so I kind of let you do that. But um, you know, the bonus were not just put together by random. Like everything feeds off of everything else. When I talk about 30 days in legacy, I have a lot of legacy members in here. And, like legacy is where I'm coaching people like one on one in real time. And you're going to learn from other people's. So like accountability is so important. And until you build the confidence and the discipline, you need accountability from others. I did too. And that's what legacy builders is. Ignite your identity is every area of your life, I'm teaching you how to build the identity of that person. Um, so all these, the private call, the wealth accelerator workbook, I mean, it's a game changer. But a lot of people, this is the sad part. I'm not talking just to you guys, but this is just in life. Like people never give themselves the opportunity to value themselves. And they'll buy gifts for other people, but they never do it for themselves. And you've got to put your personal development at the top of the list. You guys have to study an hour a day. You're not going to get better if you don't study an hour a day. You're not going to get better if you don't have great mentors. That's why I was saying for me, every mentor I've ever had, I got in their model. I did exactly what they tell me to do. Most people don't do exactly what the mentor tells them. They don't do it. And that's why they don't get to where they can go. But why don't they do it? Because they never decided. So you guys got to get really good with decisions and deciding who you're going to be. People are making decisions every day from circumstances. So they'd rather trust the circumstances than themselves. Than themselves. Somebody put in the chat is I have a concept that says activate your I don't give an F muscle. He goes, how is that spiritual? That is the essence of spirituality. When you're coming from the spiritual essence of you, you're not thinking, you're being. That's where your I don't give an F muscle comes in, you know? And most people are limited themselves. That's why the worst paradigm we've ever inherited is needing to be liked. That's the worst paradigm. It's the worst paradigm we can have, because that stops us from stepping out and going and doing a thing.
Absolutely. And Arash, I just want to clarify. So if you are one of the first five, and I need to go check our Hello inbox to see if we're already at five, but if you're one of the first five to do the 100 book order, which is for $2,500, you get that hour-long coaching call with Arash, which is going to be incredible. And there's a lot of things you could do with those 100 books. If you are anyone who orders the 10 copy of books, which is what's on your screen right now, you get two calls with Arash in Legacy Builders in a group call setting. And then you also get a call with one of our incredible coaches at Voss Coaching Co. And Arash, I know you have wonderful things to say about them as well.
No, they're extraordinary. I mean, I work with them every day, and I'm constantly working with them to have them work with you even better. Like our whole model in our company is getting better, like getting better every day, every day, every day. And I want that model for you. But then when they work for you, you're going to have work with you. They're going to have somebody who actually cares about you and cares about your results. Because I can look at all of you and I can tell you what I see. And this is with everyone I mentor. I see pure potential. Whenever I coach anyone, I only see them at the image that they can be, not as they're showing up. And like Phil and I were in a group coaching this morning. I was just giving him some advice on exactly what I see. Like I know Phil's gonna crush it. Like I already know it. I don't wonder. I already know that. But what do? I eliminate the hidden patterns that is what he's consciously programmed as. And then I identify him. He's like, oh, I knocked that out. Then he opens the space. So, one of the things you got to ask yourself is am I available for what I really want? Am I available for the good that I desire? Too many people are putting circumstances in the way. And they have these spiritual contracts they have with themselves. And that's why people never decide, well, when this happens, then I'm going to do this contract. But that is a sabotaging contract. You have to be available for your goal. You have to open the space for your goal. And right now, if I'm speaking in scarcity, the space isn't open. If I have excuses, the space isn't open. And what I've learned over 21 years of doing this every day, the first 3 years of studying it and nothing happening to when everything started changing, is when I got the hell out of the way, everything started happening. So I had to go to the unknown. See, once you go to the unknown, you're never gonna unsee the unknown. You're never gonna see the magic. See, our senses are not where we should be making decisions from. Our senses are based on the past. Our future is based on how we use our higher faculties because those are our superpowers. Those are our superpowers. You know, when we do that, that's when everything changes. Like one idea changed my life, but I went all in on that one idea. Like until I got mentored and did exactly what my mentor told me, I was constantly going forward, backwards, and it just created so much dissatisfaction. That's why I always say the moment when I said I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, that was the moment my life changed. That was the moment my life changed. You know, see, the opportunity for you guys is never the problem. It's always the opportunist. It's always what you're executing. And then you got to ask yourself, why wouldn't I execute things out of my comfort zone that will break me free? That'll break me free. Because people say they want big things, but they'd rather succeed at their present self than being willing to fail at their future self, right? Like I fail every day. I promise you I do. I hate losing too. I hate losing, but I know losing is the part of the combination to win. But you know, you have to be willing to fail, and most people are not willing to fail. And then all they do is they give themselves excuses. They give themselves outs.